Hello students, this is Tejaswini Casey. Welcome to my channel Enlighten. Today in this video we'll discuss with the module 5 negotiations in international business. So first we will move on with the introduction to this negotiations. Okay. Basically, negotiation is a dialogue intended to resolve disputes, to produce an agreement upon courses of action, to bargain for individual or collective advantage, or to craft outcomes to satisfy various interests. It is the primary method of alternative dispute resolution. That is here a negotiation, which means nothing but it is one of the mode or one of the way to resolve any disputes which are going to be occurs in the international trade of agreements, and based on the mutual benefits or the mutual consent of the individuals, in order to get with the collective advantage, the disputes are going to be resolved from certain parties or certain agents or certain third party service providers. Okay, so that kind of initiative or that kind of a thing, what we are going to call is the negotiation, and it is one of the primary method of alternative dispute resolution. And here there are another variety of methods are there, like mediation, arbitration, those kind of a different kind of mediations and arbitration dispute solving methods are there. Those we will discuss it later. Okay, and next thing, it's about regarding the negotiation is going to occurs in business, non-profit organization and government branches, legal proceedings, among nations, and in personal situations such as marriage, divorce, parenting, and everyday of life. Okay, negotiation basically it is going to occurs in the business, that is whether the business, it may lies in the hand of domestic or it may be in the hands of internationally. Okay, and here in non-profit organizations also certain consumer dispute redressal agencies will be there. So those agencies are going to call it as the dispute resolution agencies. Okay, and in government branches also certain redressal agencies are going to be there. Okay, that is going to solve with this dispute which are going to arise in the business. Okay, and in the legal proceedings, in all the legal proceedings, if disputes arise in while making any arguments or such kind of things, then this negotiation technique will come. Okay, and in case of personal situation also, like a marriage or getting any divorce or any parenting, that is that this person need to be there with that person as a guardian for certain years, like that. So in every day of life, this negotiation it's going to take on place. Okay, negotiation, which means nothing but it is a technique to resolve any kind of disputes which are going to arise in certain phenomena. Okay, so next, negotiation is the action and the process of reaching an agreement by means of exchanging ideas with the intention of dispelling conflicts and enhancing relationship to satisfy each other's needs. So this is what I told you, that is here negotiation, it is one of the process of reaching an agreement with the means of exchanging ideas. That is, the third party will give certain ideas in order to overcome from certain problems which are arised from the A person and the B person. Okay, see here, one person A and B entered to contract and they made one agreement. Okay, and based on that agreement they are working, but still certain due to certain condition they are going to face certain disputes among themselves. Okay, at that situation C is going to enter, that is C means nothing but the person who is going to resolve the conflicts between the A person and the B person. Okay, So here dispelling conflicts, which means nothing but resolving the conflicts, and thereby the mutual relationship of the two persons is going to be enhanced. Okay, this is what we are going to call it as the negotiation. Negotiation is a technique to reduce with the or to resolve the disputes which are going to arise in the different kind of a phenomenons. The phenomenons or the situations, it's not going to be similar for all the kind of activities, or for all the persons it's not going to be similar, right? So if any consumer is going to face any problem regarding the food in food items, if any problems identified, then where we can put a case against to that particular company, in a sense, in the consumer court. Okay, if any disputes arises between the persons, then also we can go with the courts, that is for high court or for supreme court we can go. Okay, so if any business matters or legal issues happened, in the sense, then also we can go with the courts. Okay, the ultimate decision which was going to be taken from the court, that is final for the both the parties, and both the parties need to obey for those orders which are going to be given from the juries. Okay, that is court juries, that is the judge, what he is going to give a decision, no, that is going to be final. Okay, in all the kind of a business activities, these kind of a persons need to be there, because without conflicts, no, the business can be run. Okay, so that's what these agencies need to be there. And here always the mutual benefit need to be there. That is one phrase we are going to use, that is win-win situation in case of negotiation or the bargaining, the mutual benefits, that is for both the parties. A also need to get satisfied with that decision, and B also need to get satisfied with that particular decision. Then both the persons are going to be win. Okay, so thereby the conflict it's going to be over. There will be no conflicts. Okay, so that's what the negotiation, it need to be in such a manner that win-win phrase that need to be used. Okay, that is win-win situation need to be there for the both the parties. Okay, and other kind of phrases will like win-lose, that is one party will get win and another party will get lose, then again the conflicts are going to be rises, and again lose-win, same situation, and again if the both the parties are going to be lose, okay, lose-lose situation, then there will be no problem, but the conflict may go upwards. Okay, that is it may reach in a peak point, and thereby the conflicts may arise again and again. Okay, if lose-lose situation is going to be happen. So that is what always the negotiation is going to concentrate on, the phrase of win-win situation for the mutual parties, in order to get with the mutual benefits for both of them. Okay, this is just I will give another example regarding if any disputes are going to arises in the international marketing. Okay, there actually the international human resources management department it's there, and marketing department at the international level one agency was opened, that is going to be take care if any disputes are going to be arises in the international market. Okay, so this is nothing but a negotiation, it's going to give one legal framework. Okay, in that legal framework only all the parties or all the business activities need to be done. Okay, this is what regarding the introduction to negotiation. Let's move on with the meaning of negotiation. Negotiation is the dialogue between two or more people or parties intended to reach an understanding, resolve a point of difference, or gain advantage in outcome of a dialogue, to produce an agreement upon courses of action, to bargain for individuals or collective advantage, and craft outcomes to satisfy various interests of two parties involved in a negotiation process. Okay, so negotiation is basically the dialogue between two or more people or the parties. Okay, as I already told you, negotiation always when both the peoples are going to enter into business and they are going to make a contract or the agreement, then they are going to run the business. In the process of running the business, certain disputes or the certain conflicts are going to arise. So in order to overcome from that, the third party need to enter into that, okay, in order to get with the resolve a point for if any differences happened between two parties, then resolving is necessary. So that third party will enter into that particular agreement, and they are going to watch all the disputes or all the aspects, what exactly for which the reason disputes have been arised, like that they are going to in look after, and after that they are going to make the advantage for both the parties. That is, they are going to think that the mutual benefit need to be there for both the parties. Okay, so that is in the course of action for both the parties, the collective advantage need to be there, and for both the parties interest need to be resolved in overall the negotiation process. If it is going to be done like that, then there will be no problem in the negotiation process. Okay, and the next aspect of your syllabus is the definitions of negotiation. The first definition was given by, I have chosen the Shil Q. As per her, negotiation is the process by which people attempt to settle what each shall give and take or perform and receive in a transaction between them. Okay, as per this definition, no, negotiation is one of the process whereby the people are going to attempt to make a settlement of disputes in the format of taking or performing and receiving a transaction between them. Whatever the disputes are going to be made, no, that need to be resolved, or the settlement of dispute need to be are going to be done through the third party. Okay, the third party, it is a legal body. Okay, the legal body is going to enter into contract, and they are going to look after all the issues, and thereby they are going to take the decision. Okay, so this definition is going to state that kind of a meaning. This is the definition as per Shil Q. Okay, and next definition as per according to Ilana Zohar. Okay, as per her, negotiation is a way to resolve conflicts or disagreements or divide resources among two or more parties, carried out willingly by free choice. Okay, negotiation is basically one of the way or one of the mode of resolving conflicts or the any kind of disagreements, and dividing the resources among two or more parties. That is, when it comes to the divorce cases itself, right, the husband need to give certain amount to wife in order to like life maintenance. Okay, so that kind of things, what we are going to call as the dividing of resources among two or more parties. And when it comes to the business, okay, For business, if we come in the sense, if any other party made intentionally a mistakes, then it need to give the certain penalty amount for that particular opposite party. Okay, and this is going to be freely, it is going to be done by the third party. There will be no any fees or the remunerations, but in certain situation the remuneration are going to be taken out. Okay, the two sides make a contract for suggestion and counter suggestions, and in this manner communication takes place between the parties. Each side employs its own tactics in an effort to reach maximum results. Okay, here nothing but the two sides make the contract for suggestion and counter suggestion. That is, both the parties are going to give suggestion. For that suggestion, counter suggestion is going to be given from another party, and thereby the third party is going to look after those suggestion and counter suggestion, and thereby he is going to take a decision, and thereby the communication between the two parties also going to happens. Okay, and this is going to done because the each person's tactics or the ideas are going to differ from one to another. Okay, so in order to collect or regain all the ideologies, how this dispute can be resolved, so for that reason they are going to take all the ideas from the both the parties. Okay, as per her, Ilana Zohar, she is going to say, she was said that the negotiation is purely one of the way to resolve the conflicts or the disagreements with the dividing of resources, and here two sides, the suggestion and the counter suggestion, it's going to be made, and based on that the third party is going to take a decision, and every person will be having different ideologies or different tactics, thereby they are going to look after the which idea if we choose it would be better. Okay, that kind of things are going to be done from the third party. Okay, this is about the definitions of negotiation. Next is the negotiator. Okay, negotiator is a person or an individual representing an organization or a position who listens to all the parties carefully and comes to a conclusion which is willingly acceptable to all is called the negotiator. Okay, that's what I am telling you from the beginning itself. That is an individual who is going to represent one organization. Okay, and he is in a superior position, and who is going to look after or who is going to listen all the opinions or the suggestions or the counter suggestions which will be going to given from the both the parties, and thereby he will come to or she will come to one conclusion that that is the judgment. Okay, that is what it need to be acceptable from all the persons. Okay, so that is what in courts all it's going to happen, right? If any conflicts arises between two parties, then again they are going to be they are going to for court, and thereby the judgment it's going to be happens, and it need to be acceptable from all the persons. Whatever the decision or the judgment given by the judge, it need to be acceptable for all. Okay, this is what the meaning of negotiator. For example, in library, librarian can be called the negotiator because librarian is the only one person or in that position who listens to all the library staffs carefully and comes to one conclusion where the books need to be arranged in systematic manner, like that. Okay, so negotiators implement their negotiation and decision strategies differently depending on whether the situations they deal with instrumental or expressive. That is, they are going to take the decision based on the certain strategies. whether it need to be on the instrumental or expressive manner. Based on that, they are going to take with the decisions. Okay, and next thing, it's skills of a negotiator. Okay, certain skills I have mentioned. That is, good negotiating skills are an asset in today's information super rich world, where librarians are more informed and prepared than ever. Okay, here just librarian they have concentrated, not just the librarians, even the judges and even the redressal agencies, superior authorities, okay, or any chartered accountants, okay, or any other like international agencies, okay, these are all going to comes under the negotiation skills, negotiators. Okay, so here the good negotiating skills demands several skills is said to be executed with a precision, such as first it need to be with the empathy, and the listening capacity need to be there, and questioning need to be there, and the remembrance need to be there, and attention, that is which the person is talking, we need to judge for him, okay, what he is actually telling, that need to be remembered, and based on that the question need to be there. Okay, if properly listened, then only the question we can make, otherwise we cannot make. And empathy, that he need to or she need to be very honest enough to get the transparency decision. Okay, and when it comes to language also need to be, that is if they are going to talk in regional language, that is Hindi or Kannada or Tulu or Malayalam, like that, if any regional languages are going to be speaked out now, then that negotiator need to be understood. Okay, and certain non-verbal cues also they need to understood, like if parties are not ready to talk with themselves, then by non-verbal communication also they need to understood their problems. Okay, so these are all the different skills of negotiator. So this is what the negotiator, for these kind of a persons we are going to call as the negotiator. The next aspect of your syllabus is negotiations and communication. Okay, that is how this the negotiation it's going to be resolved by the good and the proper manner of communication. Okay, because through the communication whatever the resolve or whatever the thing can be resolved. Okay, so that's what, if proper communication have been happened between the two parties, then of course the harmonious relationship can be built between the two parties. So that's what the negotiations and communication we need to understand. Okay, here the good communication is the essential requirement for successful negotiations. Communication is a two-way interactive process that requires everyone involved exchange messages. Okay, so here communication is going to one interactive process whereby the messages or the ideas or the any kind of talkings, it can be shared between the two parties, thereby the situation or the phenomena what the disputes have been arised, no, that can be resolved. Okay, and here Jan Zaho he is going to identify one set of common properties in negotiation. Okay, that is nothing but one proper guideline or one three rules he was given, that is if these three rules are going to be followed out, then the conflicts are going to be arises. Okay, so let's see those three. First is there are two or more parties and conflict of interest among these parties. Okay, so two or more parties there will be there, and between them the interest of conflict will be there. Okay, they are not ready to resolve their conflict, just they want to make a conflict. Okay, like that their mindset is going to be settled out. Okay, and next thereby the third party is going to enter, and the conflict can be resolved by an agreement. That is, the third party will enter, no, at that situation they are going to make one draft, and thereby they are going to take up with the two parties signature, and thereby the conflict or the disagreements or any kind of a things which you have any falsification or any kind of a conflict, it is over. Like that they are going to take one signature from the both the parties, thereby the conflict is going to be come to an end. Okay, and next at last there is a mutual dependency between the parties. Because mutual dependency, why it will be there in a sense, just A is one organization, B is one organization. Okay, A, they are going to they are going to produce with the final sugar products. Okay, whereas the B is going to collect the raw material of the sugar, that is the sugar cane they are going to brought, right? So here the mutual dependency will be there, right? In order to produce up with sugar cane is required one. Okay, without sugar cane, sugar cannot be going to be produced. Okay, and along with the jaggery can also not be produced. Okay, so that's what the mutual dependency will be there. So in order to overcome from these kind of problems, the proper communication is required between the two parties. If proper communication done between the two parties, then thereby the conflict is going to end up, and the harmonious relationship will be stays between the both the parties, and they are going to run the business organization very smoothly. Okay, this is what the negotiations and communication. Okay, and next aspect of your syllabus is the stages of negotiation. In order to achieve a desirable outcome, it may be useful to follow a structured approach to negotiation. For example, in a work situation, a meeting may need to be arranged in which all parties involved can come together. Okay, that is in a work situation meeting, for which are all the person it need to reach the information, no, those all person need to be gathered in one hall in a sense, then the information sharing, it is very easier to pass it to the all the persons. Like that only here in the process of negotiation, the both the parties need to be there in one place, and thereby they need to resolve the conflicts. Okay, here the process of negotiation includes the following stages. The first stage is the preparation. Okay, that is the third party or the negotiator need to prepare himself what the dispute actually it was happened between the two parties. Okay, and next is discussion with another senior executive level people. He or she need to make a discussion how it can be resolved. Okay, or otherwise after discussion with the superior levels, they need to again discuss with both the parties. With both the parties, if negotiator discussed, then he will come to the clarification of goals. Okay, this dispute was happened between these two parties, then I need to give this kind of a judgment for the part uh, the parties. Okay, like that he will come to one clarification. Okay, that is just one instance I will tell you. A and B, okay, both the persons are very good understanding level they are having, and suddenly one dispute arised. Okay, so what happened in the sense, B person, he made a cheat for the A person. Okay, that is what he made in the sense, in the books of accounts he showed as false. Okay, so then A put a case against to the B. Okay, so at that situation the negotiator need to go with the two persons mutual benefit, right? That is, in this kind of a situation, the negotiator can take a decision of half amount he can give it to A in order to overcome from this problem. Okay, whereas A can remove that particular employee from the organization because he made a cheat. Okay, this kind of a decision may taken, but still if half amount it is going to given it to the A, then A will lose, right? And if A is going to remove the particular B from the organization, then he will going to face the unemployment situation, right? So as a negotiator he need not to take this kind of a steps. Okay, just he can take the steps as he need to put a penalty, and as well as with a certain amount of reimbursement to the organization, and afterwards he need to work in that particular organization itself. Okay, if this kind of a things it's going to happen from the negotiator, then it is going to call as the mutual or the win-win outcome. Okay, so both the parties need to be win in the negotiation process. That is, while resolving the disputes, no one should need to lose himself. Okay, both the person need to win negotiation process. Okay, thereby again the fresh agreement is going to be made between the both the parties. Okay, that is the step of or the concept of conflicts, it's been removed, right? So that's what they are going to come to an agreement, and afterwards they are going to make an implementation of a particular course of action. That is what actually the next step it need to taken from the both the parties, it is going to be made. Okay, that is implementation of a course of action in the sense the fresh agreement they have made, no, as per that strict rules and regulation they need to work hard for in order to improve the organizational goals and objectives. Okay, these are the different stages of negotiation. Okay, next aspect of your syllabus, it's cross-cultural negotiation process. Okay, here the manager of a MNC will have some experience with the domestic bargaining process that is somewhat similar to that in the foreign country. To acquire or merge facilities with another company starts with an array of proposals from both the sides, just like negotiations with the foreign organizations. Okay, this is nothing but the cross-cultural negotiation process. How it is going to take place in the sense, if any disputes are arised between the domestic company and the foreign company. Okay, here the domestic company cultures are different, and whereas the foreign company cultures are different. Okay, that is what they are given the name as the cross cultural. Okay, here that's what the domestic countries or the domestic company and the foreign company both are the parties. Okay, if any disputes arised between these two parties, no, at that situation in the international level itself, one redressal agency will be there. They are going to sit in front of that foreign agency, that is international level agency, resolve disputes resolving agency, and thereby they are going to take the decisions. Okay, whatever the decision, always it is need to be in the mutual benefit concern only. Okay, for the domestic company also it need to be favored, and for the foreign company also it need to be favored. Okay, no the company need to be harmed. Okay, that is what we are going to call as the cross cultural negotiation process. That is between the two parties, that is with the domestic and the foreign company, whatever the disputes arises, no, at that situation the international level dispute resolving agency will be there, and they are going to look after everything, and here also the mutual benefit need to be there between the, for the domestic and as well as for the foreign country company. Okay, this is what the cross cultural negotiation process. Okay, and here in the cross cultural negotiation process, certain set of stages are there. That is the stages of cross cultural negotiation process. Previous we have discussed, stages of negotiation process, that is as for general, that is it is applicable to only if the disputes are going to arise in the domestic vigilance. Okay, if any disputes are going to arise in the domestic level, at that situation those stages of negotiation will come forward, whereas this stages of cross cultural negotiation process, it is going to takes in the or at the international level. Okay, so first stage of cross cultural negotiation process is planning. In the previous also the same thing, planning need to be done. Okay, that is how best we can resolve the conflict which was happened between the two parties, like that it need to be analyzed. And next thing, it's about non-task timing, that is non-task timing in a sense, while not carrying any operation, okay, they need to close the business up to resolving this problems, or the up to resolving of a conflict, they need not to open their companies. Okay, whether it may be the domestic or whether it may be the foreign company. Okay, and next, exchanging of information, that is communication is going to happen between the both the parties, domestic company head and the foreign company head, and third party, that is at the international level, one superior authority is going to look after this problems. Okay, and next, desired set of exchanges are going to be made, that is fresh agreements are going to be made. Okay, that is desired set of exchanges in the sense, nothing but what both the companies are required, that is going to be dealt from, or that is going to be given from the as a judge. Okay, the third party who is seated, no, he will going to suggest that. Okay, and next thing, last stage is the mutually acceptable exchanges. Okay, whatever the decision given by the international dispute resolving agency member, that need to be accepted by the both the parties, and they need to be very sensitive, and they need to manage those problems in the particular manner without making any problem in the next process. Okay, these are the different stages of cross cultural negotiation, and this is about the cross cultural negotiation process. Okay, and next aspect of your syllabus is the planning and preparation for negotiation. Okay, here how the planning and preparation for the negotiation is going to be done. Okay, certain 4 stages are there in order to make planning and preparation for negotiation. The first stage is the determination of conflict situation. Okay, that is actually what the conflict, exactly what the conflict it's been, like that it need to be analyzed from the negotiator, in the sense which type of a conflict it's been arised and for which the matter it's been arised. Like these kind of a different aspects it need to be looked after from the negotiator. And next stage is determination of own goals and objectives. That is as a negotiator, after knowing the conflict situation, he need to come or he need to draw certain goals and objectives regarding the particular conflict. That is nothing but own goals and objectives, in a sense suggestions how best this conflict can be reduced. Okay, those suggestions need to be drawn from the person, that is the negotiator. Okay, after drawing certain suggestions for the particular problems, they need to evaluate other sides of goals and objectives. Here one-sided goals and objectives can be drawn from the negotiator. That is for A parties they may draw certain suggestions. Okay, and after that in the third stage they need to look after with the B party also, right? So if as a negotiator, if he is going to look after between two parties, then only he is going to call, or he is regarded as the best negotiator. Okay, so that's what he need to be make the mutual benefit for both the parties, that is for A and B. He need to make best decisions for both the parties. Okay, and the last stage is developing a strategy based on the knowing with the conflict situation, and based on suggestions for A and suggestions for B, they need to develop one strategy how best this can be resolved. Okay, so after that if conflict resolved, then they are going to make the fresh agreement. Okay, and thereby they are going to implement certain courses of action. Okay, or otherwise if disputes not resolved, then again they are going to try to resolve that particular conflict situation. Okay, this is what the planning and preparation for negotiation. Next aspect of your syllabus is managing negotiations. Okay, here the major difference between domestic and foreign negotiation is a matter of degree. Managing negotiations internationally may take much longer and may involve many provisions unheard of in the home country, such as negotiated tax rates. Okay, so like this here managing negotiations, that is in the domestic level, the different kind of domestic, in the sense for the home country, different kind of suggestions or different kind of problem solving techniques will be there. and at the international level different kind of resolving techniques will be there. Okay, so it need to be analyzed from the negotiator. Okay, whether the problem it's been arised within the domestic region or between the domestic country and the foreign country, or the dispute it's arised in only the foreign country. Okay, these kind of things need to be analyzed from the negotiator. That is what we are going to call as the managing negotiations. Okay, first we'll go with the home countries need to maximize. In order to manage the negotiation, the home countries, if they are going to maximize these four things, then the negotiation techniques will be in the sufficient manner. Okay, the home countries need to maximize, that is MNCs want to maximize their degree of ownership, right? So that is for which are all the reasons the negotiation process can be arised, or the dispute resolving methods can be arised. Okay, that is if MNCs want to maximize the degree of ownership, that is they want to grab more market share in the particular country, then no one will accept. Okay, then the conflict is going to be arised. Okay, and next aspect is the maximize the imported components or equipments. Imported, that is importing, it need to be reduced for the country. If importing reduces, then export increases, then the country will be in the good position. Okay, if importings are going to be maximized, then conflicts are going to be arises in the home country. Okay, and the next is to maximize the depreciation rates. Okay, as a negotiator or as a per party, they need not to go with the maximization of depreciation rates. They need to decrease the depreciation rates. If depreciation rates not been reduced, then of course the problem or the conflicts are going to be arises. Okay, and last thing is to maximize the tax structure, import duty, infrastructure or labor training concessions from national governments. If as I mentioned, they need to maximize the tax structure, import duty and infrastructure, labor training concessions in order to escape from the tax rules and regulations, then of course the conflicts are going to be arises. So if these four things are going to be made from any MNCs, then of course the conflicts are going to be arises. So if the home country, it need not to increase with any conflicts, then these four aspects need not to carry out in any country. Okay, if these four aspects are going to be carried out in any country, that is in the home country, then the conflict definitely arises. Okay, this is what the managing negotiations in the home country. Okay, let's we'll go with for host country. Okay, the host countries, if they maximized these following things, then conflicts are pakka. Okay, conflicts will definitely arises. Okay, that is the first aspect is foreign exchange need to be earned from exports from the inward FDI. Okay, that is foreign exchange, it's going to be earned from the FDI, inward FDI, right? So if it is going to done, no, then conflict is going to be arises. That is inward FDI, which means nothing but within the local region. Okay, the other countries FDI, it is going to be taken for the benefit of other usages, then it is not good, then the conflict is going to be arises. Okay, next is direct labor and managerial employment in the foreign owned operations. Okay, that is direct labor from the domestic country. They are going to directly recruit the people for the foreign country for the subsidiary, and they are going to manage the employment in the foreign country itself. So if for foreign country itself they are going to use all the laborers, then definitely conflict are going to be arises. Okay, and next is the local contents in production. That is, local contents means nothing but in order to get the local contents in the production process, they need to take the license, right? If they are not going to take on with the license, then of course the conflicts are going to be arises. Okay, and next is the local ownership of the operation. That is, for in order to carry out with the local operation, the natural resources are required. So if the natural resources are not are taken without the permission from the authorities, then conflicts are going to be arises. Okay, and next is the local production of new technology. That is, local production of new technology in the sense nothing but the regional level, if they want to take any technology, okay, then also they require with a certain permissions. If they are not going to take with a permission, and if they are going to opt that technology, then again the conflicts are going to be arises. Okay, and last thing is protection of local competitors. The next aspect of your syllabus is negotiations styles and managing negotiations. So here first we'll go with negotiation styles. So in the negotiation styles, there are 5 types are there. Competitive style. Okay, in the competitive negotiation, the approach with win or loss based on the zero sum game. It means in a negotiation process, one must win, another party may lose. Okay, so the relationship between negotiation parties is irrelevant and adversarial and insincerity and limited disclosure and the self-interest. Okay, so here in this competitive styles, the only win-loss situation will be there. There will be no win-win situation. That is, here the mutual party will not get the mutual benefit. Only one party will get one benefit. Okay, so that kind of a negotiation style we are going to call it as the competitive style. Okay, second type of a style is accommodative style. Okay, so here the accommodative style of negotiation is concerned with a long-term relationship between the parties. It is attributed to harmony and adjusting with the circumstances, concessions, and neglecting self-interest. Okay, so here in this kind of a negotiation, the long-term relationship can be maintained. That is, if any disputes arises, no, that is going to be resolved very quickly, and the harmonious relationship is possible in this case of accommodative style. Okay, so this is long-term relationship will be there between the both the parties, and here the entrance of the negotiator is less, whereas in the competitive style there will be more. Okay, this is what we are going to call as the accommodative style. And third type of style is avoid style. Okay, Avoid style is a one type of a tactic of intrapersonal conflict resolution, which is going to attribute it to ignorance of competitive bias, postponing, suspecting future consequences, and they will try to ignore those kind of issues. That is, in this kind of a negotiation, they are going to ignore and they are going to postpone certain transactions of the business parties for next periods. Okay, this is what we are going to call it as the avoid style. This is what we are going to call as the avoid style. Okay, next type of negotiation style is cooperation style. It is basically concerned with a problem solving, collective bargaining, reasonability, the sincere and relevant disclosure of their intentions, proper and effective communication, parties' values and beliefs. Okay, these, that is here the mutual relationship between the both the parties will be very much harmonious. So that's what the chance of conflict, it is very less in this kind of a cooperation style. Okay, the last type of a style is the compromise style. Okay, it is actually characterized by the settlement of differences, disputes, arbitraging, and mutual concessions. Here the process of resolving by the third party is very much less, because both the parties will be going to be in a position to compromise themselves, and thereby they are going to be in a harmonious relationship, and so that's what there will be no problem for the negotiator. Okay, so this is what we are going to call as the compromise style. Okay, so this is all about the negotiation style. Okay, so the next aspect is the negotiation skills. Okay, so here also the same negotiator skills which I was dealt at first part of this video. So those are the first thing, it's about tactics, that is which kind of ideologies or the which kind of methodology or which kind of any new ideologies to resolve the problem that need to be generated by the negotiator. That is nothing but idea generation. Okay, and the next is effective listening. If he is going to make a listening of both the parties, then he can come for a one good conclusion, otherwise it's not possible. Okay, next, assertiveness. That is, he need to be very assert and attention to look after the both the parties consequences, and thereby he need to listen both the parties argues and the issues. Okay, fourth skill is empathy. That is the honesty they need to maintain in the judgment process. It need not to be the biased one. Okay, and at last the negotiation skill is record keeping. That is what all the disputes arised and how the solution was found to that particular project or particular problem. It need to be recorded in the books of accounts. Okay, so this is what the negotiations skills. Okay, so the next concept of your syllabus is the negotiation process. Okay, that is here the negotiation process, which means nothing but how they are going to the negotiator is going to take place his works in the process of the conflicts. Okay, so this negotiation process, which was given by Roy J. Levy, he was introduced the process of negotiation in the year of 1981. In his research article, he was mentioned this processes. Okay, those processes as follows. The first is the entry and the initial contract. okay, how they have entered to contract and how the business activities they have carried out. Okay, so this need to be first analyzed by the negotiator, and after that secondly the clarification and justification. Okay, first they need to take a clarity regarding the process of this kind of a conflict arised. Okay, and justification in the sense they need to justify themselves, the parties they need to justify themselves that they are strong and they are in a good position. Okay, they did they didn't arise the conflict, it was arised like that, they need to prove themselves. Okay, and after that the personal styles and tactics. Okay, so if after getting a clarification and after making justification for both the parties, if they didn't listen to the sense, then the personal styles of and tactics they need to use, that is personal styles in the sense which I dealt, no? In which of these kind of styles, whether accommodative or avoid style or cooperative style or compromise style, which kind of a style if we used, then this problem or the conflict can be resolved. It need to be analyzed by the negotiator, and after that he need to make one idea in order to solve with that problem. Okay, this is what the third process. And next at fourthly they need to bargaining and problem solving. In the fourth step they need to bargain, that is mutual benefit they need to take, and thereby the problem it need to be get resolved. Okay, so if the negotiator is very good enough and knowledgeable person, then he will going to conclude the conflict very early, very quickly. If he is not to do so like that, then the conflict may go on. Okay, so next last process is closure and implementation. Okay, whatever the solution which is founded by the negotiator, no, that's the final, and thereby the in the books of accounts they are going to make an entry. Okay, and after that it is going to be implemented to the business, and here there is no any further dispute solving. Hereby the closure of that particular conflict it's going to be made. Okay, so this is what the negotiation process. The next concept of your syllabus is renegotiation. So, in order to invest in less developed countries, it was common to obtain concessions on fixed terms for long periods, or to expect that the original terms would not change. Not only the terms of operations can be bargained before any operations are set up, but the same terms may be re-bargained in any time during startup or after operations are underway. This erosion of MNC's bargaining power is termed as a theory of absoluting the bargain. An MNC which is aware and responsive to the changing needs and desires of the local economy can maintain or improve its bargaining position by offering additional resources to the host country needs. The business in sometimes may be influenced or shakes with the changing circumstances or variations. Okay, so here the renegotiation, which means nothing but already disputes arised in the between the particular persons or the parties. Okay, after resolving that also certain problems again it is going to arises between those parties itself. Okay, say for example A and B, both the parties. Okay, they first they have entered into business, and after that they made certain conflicts. Okay, third party entered between them, and they resolved that particular issue. Okay, this is one conflict arised between A and B. Okay, after that, again between the same parties, that is A and B, another conflict which was going to be arises due to with the same issue. Okay, so if those kind of problems or the conflicts arises again with the same issues, then renegotiations what we are going to call. Okay, that is between A and B, the first conflict was arised due to the not availability of natural resources. Okay, that is supply they are not going to make the of natural resources. Okay, so after resolving every problem by the negotiator, the B company agreed to supply the natural resources for A, and this issue was closed. Okay, after certain days, again the issue comes regarding the supply of natural resources from B to A. Okay, at that situation, what the conflict is going to arise is, no, that is what we are going to call as the renegotiation process. Okay, so here the renegotiation is basically or generally triggered with the two reasons. That is, first reason is imperfect contract, and second reason is about changed circumstances. Okay, so here imperfect contract in the sense, here no clear information about the contract terms and regulations and those disclosures or those implementation, it is not going to be clearly stated. Okay, as per the imperfect contract. If no clear information regarding these terms and rules and regulations, then of course renegotiation is necessary, right? So if the conflict resolvement it's not fully happened between the parties, then of course this renegotiation is essential. Okay, and next second reason is that changed circumstances, that is always future is going to changes, it is not going to remains the same. So that's what if any problem arises between both the parties, then again conflict arises, then again the entrance of the third party is essential. Okay, here just in a one simple word I can say is, once already conflict resolved, but still again the conflict arised between the same parties. Okay, for that process what we are going to call as the renegotiations. Okay, so this is all about the renegotiations. Next concept is arbitration of disputes. Okay, arbitration, a neutral third party serves as a judge who is responsible for resolving the dispute. Okay, arbitration is a pure process by the third party who is going to act as a judge and who is responsible for only resolving the disputes between both the parties. Okay, the arbitrator listens as each side argues its case. That is, for A side also he need to listen, and for B side also he need to listen. Okay, and presents relevant evidence, then renders a binding decision. Okay, that is evidence he need to check, and after that binded decision, that is binded decision in the sense nothing but the mutual benefit decision he need to take. Okay, then you may come with a doubt regarding then what's the difference between arbitration and negotiation, right? So arbitration, which means nothing but it's a part of negotiation itself, okay, but the different kind of aspects are going to be done for, okay. In the court we are going to call as arbitration of disputes. In the international trade we are going to call as the negotiation, okay. As per the phenomenons or situations of conflict arising, these words are going to differ from one to another, but the meaning is same, okay. Arbitration refers to the process where the decision is made by a third party. The arbitrator hears the case as presented by the parties in conflict or dispute and makes a decision or award in the same way as a judge would, okay. As the judge going to make a decision, no, like that only the arbitrator also going to make a decision, okay. Awards are generally final and binding on all parties, that is whatever the decision it is finalized by the particular arbitrator, it is final, okay. An award may be filed in court and enforced as if it were a court judgment, okay. So if it's like a court judgment, then we can go or appeal for another higher Supreme Court, right? But here it is not so possible, okay. Arbitration is commonly used in labor disputes and commercial disputes, right? I already told you, give highlight on this point, that is negotiation which is going to take place in the international trade and services, whereas this arbitration of disputes are going to take in the labor and the commercial disputes, okay, regarding the petty businesses or large sized business or medium sized or small scale business. But the negotiation meaning also same, and whereas arbitration meaning also same. There is no any differentiation between arbitration and negotiation, okay. And it is also used in oil and gas disputes, insurance claim disputes, and family and divorce disputes, okay. This word we are going to use it in these kind of various forms, okay. That is in various kind of forms of business we are going to use this, okay. And the arbitrator arranges a meeting between the parties to determine what issues need to be resolved. That's what I am telling from beginning, right? So what issue actually it was happened between the both the parties, that is going to be dealt from the arbitrator also, the same kind of a thing. Both the parties are going to sit in one room, and thereby a third party will also be there. He is going to listen all the argues, A and B parties argues, and after listening he will going to give one judgment, okay. That's judgment in a sense nothing but one finalized decision. That finalized decision is it's going to be recorded in the books of accounts, okay. Thereby that any kind of implementation of courses of action which is going to happen, okay. This is what the arbitration of disputes, which means nothing but as simple as the resolving the conflicts in these different issues, okay. That's in case of labor disputes, commercial disputes, oil and gas disputes, insurance claim disputes, family and divorce disputes, okay, these kind of issues. But there is no differentiation between negotiation and arbitration. I am again and again pressing on this, no differentiation, okay. So here next aspect or the concept, it's not in your syllabus, but still for your future references I made this, that is differences between negotiation, mediation, arbitration and litigation, okay. Because These are all the same meaning. There is no any changes. Okay, but the phenomena or the situation are going to differs. Okay, and the method of solving the problem also differs. Okay. Negotiation is a process where two parties in a conflict or dispute fight reach a settlement between themselves that they can both agree on. That is, here third party will enters, but still the problem or resolving which is going to happen between themselves itself. Okay. Negotiations are reached through discussions made between the parties or their representatives without an involvement of the third party. Each party should consult or see a lawyer before settling down the matter. That is, lawyer is going to act as a third party, right? So that they are well aware of their rights and duties in respect to the matter or dispute they are willing to solve. Okay, this is what negotiation. Next, when it comes to mediation means nothing but the process in which a neutral, means not supporting any one side, that is third party, assists the parties in conflict to reach a solution. Okay, the third party, what we are going to call as the mediator, and the mediator facilitates communication between the parties. The mediator manages communication process between the parties fairly, honestly and impartially, and the mediators do not take insights, that is bias the decision they will not going to take, and give legal advice or provide counseling, and they do not act as judge or arbitrator. Okay, they are not going to act as a judge or the arbitrator. Okay, in the negotiation the third party's presence will be there, but the lawyer, as a lawyer presence, he is going to be there. Okay, whereas in the mediation third party will come and they do not going to act as the judge or the arbitrator. Okay, so here negotiation and mediation is less expensive and less time consuming than the court action. Okay, so in the negotiation and the mediation there will be no entrance of the court. Okay, court action will not come in these two kind of negotiation processes. Okay, an agreement is encouraged, but the parties are free to pursue other processes if they cannot reach an agreement. Okay, that is, here agreement will be there, okay, between the two parties. If they do not want to continue with that, they can reject it. Okay, this is what negotiation and mediation. And next, regarding arbitration and litigation. In arbitration, a neutral third party serves as a judge, but as in mediation they are not going to act as a judge. Okay, then here the entrance of court will be there. Okay, judge who is responsible for resolving the dispute. The arbitrator listens as each side argues its case and presents relevant evidence, then renders the binding decision, and the disputants can negotiate virtually any aspect of the arbitration process, including whether lawyers will be present at the time, which standards of evidence will be used. Arbitrators hand down decisions that are usually confidential and that cannot be appealed. Like mediation and arbitration tends to be much less expensive than litigation. Okay, that is here see, negotiation, mediation and arbitration, three are less expensive. Okay, in the negotiation there will be no presence will be there. Okay, presence of third party will be there as a lawyer, whereas in second mediation the presence of third party will be there, okay, in any format. In arbitration he will be the presence of the third party as a judge. That is, here the legal representation of court will be there. Okay, so these three are negotiation, mediation and arbitration are very less expensive. Okay, whereas the litigation is very much expensive. Okay, so let's go on with the litigation. The most familiar type of disputes resolution is civil litigation. Typically involves a defendant facing off against a plaintiff before either a judge or judge and jury. Okay, that is nothing but purely the court existence. Okay, as the scenario of a court situation or the phenomena will be there, no, like that only this litigation also follows. Okay, here the judge or jury is responsible for weighing the evidence and making a ruling. Okay, and the information what they conveyed in hearings and trials usually enters and stays on the public record. Okay, and lawyers typically dominate litigation, which often ends in a settlement agreement during the pre-trial period of discovery and the preparation. Okay, here in the litigation, the judge or the jury is responsible for everything. Okay, the pure court existence, all the conflicts or the disputes or the problems are going to be resolved through litigation in the court. That is what PIL, public interest litigation. Okay, but in negotiation, mediation and arbitration there will be less presence of court. In arbitration it will be there, but still in negotiation and mediation there will be no existence of court. Okay, it's off the court. In one room, the third party and both the parties will be there. In the mouth of words, they are going to settle their disputes. Okay, whereas in arbitration and litigation, purely the court will enter, and the judge or the jury peoples, they are going to judge the conflict of both the parties, and thereby they are going to take the decision. Okay, this is what the differences between negotiation, mediation, arbitration and litigation. Okay, these are very much important for 2 marks questions. Okay, next last aspect of your or the concept of your syllabus is the comparative negotiating styles. Okay, here individuals involved in negotiations may react on the basis of how they think about their own performances are going to be evaluated, and individual negotiators from some countries are more likely to have the power to make decisions than their counterparts from some other countries. Okay, and negotiators pragmatist culture attempt to separate the issues into small categories, whereas negotiators from idealistic cultures view negotiations more holistically. Okay, see here before already before only I go with this concept, but still more explanation I need to give, so that's what I again put it on PPT. So here see the individual negotiators, that is the domestic country and the foreign countries, between any disputes arises, no, at that situation based on the own performances of the peoples are going to be evaluated, and here which country is need to be win, that is going to be determined by the at the international level. One court will be there, they are going to decide for that. Okay, and here negotiators always want to be practical in nature. Okay, but it is not so going to happens like that. Okay, why? Because in the sense negotiators, they need to concentrate on both the countries' cultures. Okay, that is, they need to go with the Indian culture also, and they need to go with the American culture also. That is Indian culture, domestic culture, whereas the foreign American culture, it's a foreign culture. Okay, so here it is going to be in a holistic manner. It is not so that much of a pragmatic. Okay, so that's what there will be going to be problem arises. Okay, so in order to overcome from those kind of things, negotiators from monochromic cultures tend to want little undivided attention to discussion on the potential contract. That is, if they are going to make the monochromic cultures, which means nothing but any one kind of a culture, if they are going to follow, okay, whether it may be the operation of a foreign or the domestic, but if the based on the citizenship of the people, if they are going to follow with any monochromic culture, that is only one culture, then the problem is going to be resolved. Okay, because we need to obey for both the cultures. Okay, because for our Indians, our culture is superior, and for American peoples, American culture is superior. Okay, but when it comes to practicality, okay, so the negotiator need to make the decision based on the cultures, okay, without making a biased one. Okay, and based on that, they need to concentrate on the undivided attention to discussion on the potential contract. If the potential contract done so, then there will be no problem for the negotiators. Okay, however, negotiators from polychromic cultures feel uncomfortable if they do not simultaneously take care of other business affairs. Okay, polychromic means, which means nothing but the following of different cultures. Okay, if it is going to follows different kind of a cultures, then it will be uncomfortable for the negotiators in order to go with the business affairs. Okay, so that's what always the negotiator need to concentrate on the monochromic cultures. That is, while making any decision, first they need to go on to the Indian culture, and after that, based on that, they need to note down certain points, and along with that, they need to find out the certain solutions. Okay, whereas next, for the second party, that is for the foreign country, American cultures, for American culture, he need to make the list of certain points, and after that they need to make a decision regarding these kind of issues. Okay, he need not to club all the cultures of the uh, countries. Okay, if all the cultures of the countries clubbed, then what we are going to call is polychromic cultures. It is make uncomfortable for both the parties. Okay, so that's what the monochromic cultures they need to follow as a negotiator. Okay, as a negotiator, they need to concentrate on these kind of issues. Okay, negotiators from cultures that place importance to punctuality and that scheduling of time are more prone to set deadlines and then making concessions at the last minute to meet schedules than negotiators from cultures that place less importance on punctuality and schedules. Okay, here the negotiators, he's going to make, or he's going to take only concentrate on monochromic cultures, and thereby he need to give the place of importance to the punctuality and scheduling of a time for the both the parties, for domestic country head and for foreign country head. Okay, that is, while punctuality regarding about the scheduling of a meeting, Okay, at what the time the meeting have been scheduled, no, that need to be in a very much punctual one. Okay, and negotiator need to be very thorough enough, and very carefully he need to listen all the words of both the parties, and thereby he need to give an importance for punctuality and schedules also. Okay, so if he is going to make a concentrate on these all the issues, then as a negotiator he can take the best decision. Okay, so here just I'll make a glimpse on this negotiating chapter. It is nothing but negotiating means it's a process of resolving the conflicts by entering with a third party solution. Third party will give a solution for both the parties if they cannot solve themselves. Okay, so that is what this chapter is for you, that is negotiations in international business. Okay, so the last aspect I'll move on to the conclusion for this module. So negotiation is a method by which people settle differences. Of course, the settlement of differences or the conflicts are going to arise through this negotiations itself, and mediation, arbitration and litigation. Okay, it is a process by which compromise or agreement is reached while avoiding argument and dispute. Okay, here compromise and if compromise both the parties are not required, then this process of negotiation will come forward. Okay, if they are ready to resolve themselves, then there is no problem at all. Okay, if in any disagreement individuals understandably aim to achieve the best possible outcome for their positions or perhaps an organization they represent. Okay, that is here in any disagreement, individuals, if they are ready to understand themselves, okay, then there will be no problem for the peoples. Okay, if they are not ready to or if the both the parties are not ready to resolve themselves, then the emergence of the third party entrance is going to be happens. Okay, however, the principle of fairness, seeking mutual benefit and maintaining a relationship are the keys to a successful outcome for the negotiation process. That is, the principle of fairness should be there in the negotiator. Okay, he need not to take with the biased decisions. Okay, and he need to make a concentration on the mutual benefit rather than one benefit, that is one party benefit. Okay, and he need to make a the harmonious relationship he need to build. Okay, so these are the different keys to successful outcome for this process of negotiations. Okay, so hereby I am also ending with the module 5. Okay, if you have any doubts you can ask me, and you can put your questions in the comment box. Okay, please do watch these videos which will be very useful for you. Okay, thank you so much for your patience listening. Thank you. Stay tuned for further updates for regarding module 6, and if you liked my video, please do like it, and do subscribe for my channel in order to get more updates of my channel, and okay, and be alert and stay safe, stay home. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.